Yesterday I received a phone call that I dreaded and that no parent ever wants to get. I was coming home from McDonald's after picking up some burgers and some chicken nuggets, and I get a call from my son Michael's mom. And the first thing she says when I pick up the phone is, "Were you with him? Were you with him?" And I immediately knew what she was talking about. My son had just gotten out riding. He keeps his bike at my house. He kept it because his mom was very, very against riding. And I'm not like encouraging him. Also, we're trying to discourage him. But he's 19 years old. Okay, so let him keep the bike at my house. Ooh, big. Oh, it's Church of Latter-day Saints. I let him keep the bike at my house. And he had gone riding that day. That night, because he wanted to go to this meet. He wanted to go to this meet, and it was at night, like at 10 o'clock, and he's gonna do what he wants to do. So I was bringing home food from McDonald's. He loves chicken nuggets, so I got his chicken nuggets and I got some burgers for my wife and myself. So I get this call while literally driving home from McDonald's to my house, and she says, "Were you with him?" And I go, "No, I was not. I'm at home and getting food." And she's like, "Well, the ambulance picked him up and he's at the hospital." Gave me the name of the hospital. I'm like, "Send me the details." And then I rush home. I had groceries in the car. I had the McDonald's. We just left pretty much everything there on the counter. My wife said, "Let's go." So we're I'm internally, of course, panicking, like thinking what could have possibly happened. And so on the drive there, I'm praying to God, praying to Jesus, to be with him, to intervene in the situation, and all the way, all the way, all the way to the hospital, praying. And we get there, and we don't. It's hard to find the entrance because the main hospital is closed. During at that time of the night, it's only the emergency that's open. Okay, so we went there. There's two security guards guarding the door, and they're asking, the reason for a visit. And I'm like, my son, he got involved in a motorcycle accident. I'm here to see him. And so he gets on the phone and coordinates, with the staff, and they're like, Michael's parents are here, and so They usher me in, and the mom's already there, and the stepdad. So you can only have two people at a time go in. So they had the mom, the actual mom, and myself went in, um, expecting the worst, you know, because I'm thinking, what's the best possible scenario here? If you're involved in a motorcycle accident, there's very little, you know, great scenarios that can come out of that. So, so I'm just totally expecting the worst as we approach his room, slowly, walking towards it. Seemed like forever. So I see this figure in the room as we walk in, laying down, eyes open, which was a sense of relief. I'm thinking he could be in a coma or something. So at least he wasn't in a coma. And then the mom goes up to him and says, Michael says, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mom, I'm sorry." He kept repeating it. He says, "I should have listened to you. Should have listened to you." I said, "It's not your fault. It's not your fault." He said, "Yeah, it's my fault." And, he was very distraught, put it that way. But at least he was alive, okay? And I could see that his nose was like really bloody, like he just like clotted blood, and it looked like he broke his nose. That's what it looked like to me. And and on his left arm he had like a road rash around, like his left arm, and I didn't see any gravel there, which was good because from what I understand, it's very painful to get the gravel picked out of you, and it could get infected also. So I mean, it's no good any way you cut it when you have skin make contact with gravel. I looked at his gear. It was sitting there by the side of his bed, and you could tell there's been an accident there. I might post some pictures here so you can see the actual damage that on his gear. It's pretty incredible that he actually made it out with what looks like to me to be like maybe a broken nose and some road rash. So they have him on this morphine drip, and he's saying that his left arm hurts really, really bad, like I think it's broken. They said it's broken, maybe. I don't know. So he's thinking it's broken. So they do the CT scan on him, to see if there's any damage to like internal organs or anything like that, more serious. Um, X-rays, all that stuff. It was pretty intense. Uh, he slid. I asked him what happened. He doesn't remember much. He doesn't remember much, but he does say that at one point some lady stopped and said, "Are you okay?" And that next thing he knows, there's an ambulance there. He also mentioned that when he slid off, he was sliding for like several hundred feet. He says it's about 200 feet. I mean, I don't know. His camera fell off, and his phone also, which was on a quad lock, it flew off. So that you can tell you how bad the impact was. So he felt like he was sliding forever, and everything slowed down like slow motion. Uh, so I mean, it's similar to a situation I had as well with long time ago, a car accident where I was the car passenger, and I had the car um, basically slid out in the rain, and it did a 360-degree type of uh, you know, spun out of control for like 3 times. But I remember that when that happened, we went into slow motion mode, so I could see like if it was a movie, like it went like woof, 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 like that, like just crazy slow motion, like everybody just slowed down the frames of life, and that was kind of scary. But you don't have time to think. I don't, for me, it's just like slow motion, just, and then everything like went back to normal, like boom, as we hit the ditch on the side. So back to the emergency room. So I asked him, what happened, and that's what he remembers. Yeah, it's very, very lucky. He is very lucky that he was able to get away, basically walk away from it like that. Still, there was a lot of pain there. They gave him morphine 2 times, twice in the span of time I was there, and he was still in pain. He was like, I don't feel anything. It's not really doing anything. They found out later that he has a broken wrist, which, from my understanding, that could be a minor thing, but it also could be a major thing, that could cause problems, lifelong problems, like pain, and maybe even arthritis, which I hope it doesn't get to that point. But they did say that it may require surgery, to fix his broken wrist. So, hopefully not, but, I'm going to pray that he recovers, naturally without having to do that. But I don't have too much information on that because it just happened yesterday. And I just got a text this morning that they found his Insta360 camera. So this is all captured on video. So I have not seen the footage yet, but I'm very curious to see it. See what happened. Okay, and so he was also concerned about his phone, and they were able to locate his phone. So that's good. I never ride at night. Never. I already know the statistics. Okay, you're lowering your visibility. There's, especially if you're out in the country or in the canyons, there's more wild animals out and about. You don't want all that. You don't want that. That's just increasing your risk level. And on top of that, you have a group ride, okay, where you got machoism, and hey, I'm faster than you, and this and that, and I'm cooler than you, and look at me. You don't want all that drama added, more risk. Already riding a motorcycle is a very risky activity, and then you're adding layer upon layer upon layer of additional risk, unnecessary risk. That's why I don't ride at night. I don't ride with groups. I'm a solo rider, a daytime rider. And I've been riding like this, 3 years, over 3 years now, and I have not ended up in the hospital. Thank the Lord. But it's a combination of skill and luck. To be honest, you could be the most skilled rider out there. You could still get, hit, or something could happen, unexpected things. But some things are under your control. Like riding at night. You don't have to. That's your choice. Or riding in a group ride. Why? I've seen too many horror stories and videos online about riding with groups. You don't want to do that. Especially if you're a beginner rider. You don't want to, because that's going to go ahead and increase your levels of risk so much. hmm So, my advice, if you're a rider looking, a beginner or intermediate or even advanced, I don't know. It's just, why would you want to do that? Add more risk. But ultimately, we all make our own life choices. And you can't force somebody to do anything. They're going to do what they want to do. You can only give them the advice, and whether they take it or not, that's not up to you. Okay. So in this case, we actually have a not a horrible tragic ending to the story, but more like a cautionary tale. That when you swing that leg over the motorcycle in your ride, you're literally putting your life in your hands, and it's a life and death decision. So you got to make as many good decisions as you can and minimize the bad decisions. So that's the story as far as I know. This just happened yesterday, this motorcycle accident. And if I have any news or updates, I might post another video. But that's it for now, my friends. Thank you for watching. And until next time, please stay safe out there.